show you a load data, what it looks like.
Good.
I mean, CSVs are maybe not the most romantic versions of data that we look at all the time, but
You
the
don't think people come to our podcast to look at spreadsheets?
I don't know, man. I mean,
I come to our podcast to look at spreadsheets.
well, you are pretty special, Beth. Um, So, what we have here in the file headers, and so it's just one way to pass in file information and associate it with metadata, like within CellProfiler. This tends to be what we do for, again, like for more high content things. Um, Load data is a convenient way to pass in information, but there are certainly other ways. Um, so here, for example, we have in this load data CSV for this channel, ORIG-ER, which is a name that we have given to this because it's a stain, it's the raw image that is staining the endoplasmic reticulum. So this is a name, a user-friendly name that we gave it. And then we passed it this file name, ORIG-ER. So this is the name of the file. And you can see here, it's telling me um, channel 2, I think is an important thing for that disambiguates here the ER from other channels, right? So uh, all of the RNA, we have a CH5, channel 5. So that's what's, different from the RNA channels to the ER channels here. So we're giving it the name of the file and then the path name. So this is just where I downloaded it to my computer. It's on my desktop in a folder of images. So for this row, then each row has its own set of pieces of metadata that we bring along with it. Um, and for this little demo, the important piece of metadata that it's going to need to know is this metadata site. So this site, also called field of view, like often used interchangeably. We have, 9 sites within each well. Um, and those, yeah, 9 sites taken within each well. Lots of other metadata that's automatically extracted from microscope, information output from the microscope that we use, have a program. This is on a Perkin-Elmer, so we use PE2 load data. That we can drop that link in the show notes for anybody else that finds this really exciting. But that we use to extract information from metadata that is automatically output with these images and to get it into this load data format that CellProfiler reads. But just, this is what it looks like. Okay, and so here is the load data module just in the start of a pipeline. And so you notice when we put in load data and have it as a visible, like using module that we are using in our pipeline, the normal 4 input modules go away. So this takes the place of the 4 other input modules, and instead all of the information is being passed in through load data. And we can see here, I have pointed to where I have a load data CSV. And nicely, you can press this view button and it will pop up. Whoop, uh, where'd it go? There we go. It will pop up here the load data that it has loaded in, which is a really nice way to double check if things are going funky. Um, Perhaps you've tab separated your file instead of comma separated, and it's not reading it incorrectly, or there's something funny going on. It doesn't recognize your header, like in the way you've saved stuff out. Like it's really nice to be able to just click the view contents button, and you can see pretty quickly here, like, does this look like a spreadsheet as I expect a spreadsheet to look? Yes,
It
no.
does.
And here
Hooray.
we go. Hooray! It looks like a spreadsheet. Um,
Hooray for spreadsheets.
Hooray. So we other things that you might want to set that are helpful here. Generally, we in most of our workflows think of keeping the base image location as none, because we have set in our CSV that I just showed you, like the full path to the image that we are working with, but one could um, add in a base image location here, and then the paths in your LoadData CSV would be relative to that base location instead of needing to have the full path. So that can be a helpful thing if you want to be able to keep files perhaps organized in a specific folder, but move that folder around where it is on your computer or the
Mhm.
wherever your files you're accessing are.
And not have to make new spreadsheets every time? I'm sold.
Yes, yes. Also, this can be quite helpful, the image grouping here that we um, will often be thoughtful about the images that we are passing as a group here. And that is especially when we are running, like we run CellProfiler in a distributed fashion and headless lots of the time to run, very large content things. And so particularly here, where this is saying to CellProfiler, look at the metadata that we passed you in this LoadData CSV, look at the plate column, look at the well column, and use all of the, a single identifier as plate and well as the image group that you are passing in. This also comes into play, some modules. Um, Modules in particular, like for example, illumination correction, it really matters. There's different types of illumination correction where it will go across your entire group before it saves something out. And so paying attention to what grouping you're passing is important, and that's something you set here. You can also use this here, the process just a range of rows to say rather than picking a specific metadata grouping, just say, okay, I want rows, 3 through 10 of my CSV. Just run this little subset for me. And that can be another handy way to group and process a select amount of your data. Anything else that you would point out about loading in, Beth?
I think the only thing I would say is the grouping thing can often be very confusing, but we have, if you look at the groups module tutorials, if you also look at our input modules tutorials, we talk a lot about grouping and when is it important and when is it completely unimportant. So that's a good resource if the whole grouping bit is a bit confusing. But no,
Absolutely.
this seems very simple. I like having this.
Yeah, yeah. I use it a lot. I strongly prefer it over the input modules, mostly because I have a historical beef with names and types. Um, that I understand how it works now, but she and I didn't get along very well when I first started learning how to use CellProfiler. So, um, and we also strongly recommend LoadData for when you are working at scale. So if you don't have just a small amount of images that fit on your desktop that you're trying to process, but instead are working in a distributed fashion, working in the cloud, working with many, 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 many images, which is often the space that I'm working in. LoadData can be a lot easier and better for working, particularly in that regime. So
A good tip for that is if you have a pipeline that you've been doing at small scale and then you want to move to big scale, you can, if you have the regular four modules on, you don't have LoadData on, go to File,
mhm.
Export Image Set Listing, and then that will make you a LoadData CSV that is shaped the way you eventually want yours to be shaped. And so if you're not sure, oh gosh, what should the CSV look like? We have a bunch of public examples.
Yeah,
But if you do this image set listing, it will then also make you a LoadData compatible CSV that then you can sort of check out for yourself.
that is a great reminder. So this is what it looks like to do that. And as Beth mentioned, we have tons of public examples. Everything in the cell painting gallery uses LoadData CSV or includes LoadData CSVs for those images. So I'll drop some links in our show notes about some examples you can go look at for existing data sets to help orient you further.
Cool. Thank you for sharing this. This is great.
Yeah, awesome.
Mhm. Bye.